Good morning or good afternoon. My voice is a little funny, still sounding, but today I have something special. Um, we're going to do watercolor again. So get your paper, waters, two waters, small containers, and your paints, and your brushes or brush. For today, we're going to need a pencil, okay, and a drawing paper too. So pencil and drawing paper too. We're gonna draw first something we're going to later paint, okay? Just so we really get what we're doing. My apologies if I have to make noises as I clear uh, my nose or cough, okay? Uh, Great. So the reason why we have two waters, I always emphasize, is because one will be for cleaning your brush, and one we're going to try to keep as clean as possible throughout the time. It will get dirty, yes. But the idea with this water that will mostly be clean is because we many times need to wet the paper. And to wet the paper only, you want clean water so you don't put color down. Okay? So, what we're going to do, the title says it. Let's paint. Uh, let's paint a sea turtle, my favorite. Now, a sea turtle. Um, I have always said that if you see watercolors samples of paintings, more likely you could paint anything in watercolor, portraits, people, places, but portraits will be mostly the hardest thing. um, that takes very much skill because it's an unforgiving medium in regards to sometimes the colors that we put down in portraits. It gets challenging, but my point is that most of the themes are things related to kind of either underwater, rain, oceans, because watercolor itself, it's placed with tones and wetness and water. But colors, flowers. And as an artist yourself, you may find a niche, you may find a subject you want to constantly paint, and that's normal. Painters are known for certain things they like to paint more, like flowers or landscapes, or even though many artists can do many things, they may do more of a certain thing. Okay, so I have the watercolor paper here, you see, uh, but I'm gonna use here just a drawing paper, a little thinner, but still has some grain. And let's first draw our sea turtle, so then when it's time to paint it, we replicate what we drew. Okay. Excuse me. So get your pencil. We could draw it a couple of times because this is just a sketching. Okay. So this sea turtle is going to be um, swimming. So it doesn't have to be. Let's draw here from the top, looking from the top like a sea turtle. It will be like an oval like this, kind of thick actually, like a white. And there's different type of those, greenback and different names for. Not all sea turtles are the same. But let's do the back legs uh, short like this. This is a very simple sketch. But then the front ones, okay, the front ones are gonna curve like this. See that? Almost like wings. Okay, and then the head is something like this. But we're not gonna have ours exactly like this. Okay. By the way, the more you draw something in different angles, in different, the more familiarized you get of how it actually is. So this is why, especially the human body, you want to practice and practice and practice. Okay. Drawing it to get good at it, where the muscles are, where the fingers. Oh, I don't know how to draw hands. Well, start drawing them in little sketches a lot, and you will get to learn. Because you will get familiarized with it. This one will be swimming, so in an angle. So I'm gonna make here the big representation of exactly what we're going to paint. We're not gonna paint it this big, but imagine now I look at this from the side in an angle. So now we're gonna make a bump here like this. This is the shell on the top. Okay. And then the bottom body is like this. The shell will have those um, kind of, you know, maybe going up, sorry. Kind of like a compartment. Are you with me? It looks like a clamp, but the head races right here. Can you make a neck like this and make the head like a ball and the chin like that? This should extend. Instead of a nose, it's like a little beak, and the mouth is like this. So I'm giving you time. You could always pause the video, okay? You could always pause the video. But what happened is we did a clamp on the side, kind of like a burger. And when we did the compartments here, I went up a little because the arm is gonna go here. And then I made a neck by curving here. This continues loop as a head, then and go like that. Okay. Their eyes are very big, so let's make the eyes take this whole area here. Look at that, a big circle. But then the lines of the eyes are going to be in an angle like this. Did you see that? So I made a circle, and towards the mouth, I made a line like this. Okay. So now let's do the big arm here. So I curved like this, but then I went straight. And over here, kind of like about here, I'm going to curve also. Curves like that. Okay. Two little legs in the back. One, two. This could be curved, by the way. And then here, I'm going to make a line, kind of like an umbrella. Line down, line down, line down. But I don't make these lines touch the end of the division here. The division between these two sides, kind of like a clamp. And these lines, I said an umbrella because an umbrella is like this. And then it has these lines, right? But I'm not letting these lines touch yet. So then I make bumps like this. Bump, 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 bump. Kind of like if, Anyway, let's leave it here because we're not giving too much details when we draw. But did everybody get this? I'm going to draw it again. I'm going to draw it again. Fast, a little faster. You don't have to draw it again. If you want to, you can. The more you do it, the more you familiarize yourself. But look, I made an angle curve like this. The shell, right? Then I went down here. Then I made these compartments. 1, 2, and I realized I have to go up here for his arm. Then I realized the neck curves here, but here continues. Then here curves down like a circle, like a head, like a ball. And down here curves like this. The mouth is a curve here like that. We agree the eye was very big like that, like a big circle here. But the eyelid's angle was down towards the mouth. So like that. We did the big arm coming out of here, curve, straight. I'm going to erase this so you can see it. We did another arm here, shorter. We did two little legs, one here and a smaller one here. Okay. Then I made these lines almost touching the end, almost. And I made these compartments. Okay. I feel a little stronger. You see that if I do this maybe even 2 more times, I got it. But now we know how a sea turtle kind of in an angle looks like. Okay. So it's gonna be, kind of like a dark brown with highlights. But I want us to be aware that when we paint our watercolor, I need some areas in white that later I'm gonna color, especially when I do the blue water, right? And some fish will be dark blue because I will do them at the end and things like that, okay? But we are aware by now of how important it is if you're going to put light colors to leave those spaces or do them first. Either do them first in the stages or leave white space so then later you can paint there. In watercolor, dark colors should go towards the end. Okay? Ready? We drew the sea turtle so we could be a little more familiarized with what we're going to do. Just for the sake of it, I'm going to tape this, and more than tape for keeping it in the table, it's more taping it so later we could get that very clean, nice frame that I always talk about, okay? So you don't have to do this, but if you do have the tape at home, you can always do it, and then when we are done and we peel the tape, it's a crispy frame. The thing when you pull the tape at the end is you need to make sure that your painting is dry. Otherwise, the paint is going to go in under the tape as soon as you lift it off because the paper will still be wet and it's looking for areas to the water get in. Okay. All right. So we're gonna have uh, different tones of blue, and hopefully a little bit at the bottom, some coral, the sea turtle right here, and some reflection of the water. So let's do our sea turtle outline. It doesn't mean that it's I'm putting detail, but at least the outline, the curve. Remember? Can you? I hope you can see this. So what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna draw it a little darker so you can see it, but I'm gonna have to erase it a little slightly. Which what it means that I'm gonna try to bring it back to what I should have traced it at a light tone. So when you draw with pencil for watercolor, you should barely see the lines. Okay, I'm making the lines visible so you can see it on the video. So I have to go back and erase. So here's my top shelf, bottom, neck going up, curve of the head, eye, that's very big with the angle, division of the shell, remember, going up here for the arm, the first arm, shorter, second one here, small one here, leg, and the other one here. I'm putting here the shell out so these don't meet, you see? And then remember the line here, 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 and the compartments here, 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 here. You get the idea. This curve is very pronounced here, okay, very important. And this, the legs are also have compartmentalized, you know, like, but it's okay. Let's give it a little shape. And you can see it now, right? I'm gonna keep my tissue close by because with the water, I could quickly pick up some color that I know I want that area to keep clear, white. Now, the reason why I also have to erase some of this is because the watercolor, if you put too much pencil, also the watercolor when you paint grabs this graphite and it becomes dark, like a dark mixture of paint. So basically your pencil becomes, it dirties the painting, you know. So if I were to paint over this and the pencil is too dark, unfortunately, um, you pick up that and it becomes dirty and it's not good for your colors. They won't come out very good. So I'm erasing the turtle a little bit, which actually means the way the way the way you should have drawn it, very lightly. You see, very lightly. Okay, let's put our blue down, and you'll see. Keep your tissue close by, because I'm gonna make some highlights, picking up water here. As the sun rays come down, you'll see. So we're gonna do light blue, which will have a little green, and then darker blue down here, and a little bit of space here for sand if we can. I'm gonna wipe this for the sake of this is color we could always have um, save and use, but I'm gonna pick it up because um, I want to mix my colors here for the video. Otherwise, I would have used another plate or palette. Okay. Let's do this. I'm gonna put a piece of paper down here so you can see how the colors actually look. Does that make sense? Instead of watching the brown of the table, you see, sorry, how the colors are gonna look. So let's start with the blue. I wet my, as you saw, I wet my colors. Blue, Watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add some green. And remember, you could always make your colors lighter by just giving more water to the painting. So this is a lighter greenish blue. Okay, so now I wet my paper with tissue. Actually, let me keep this here and make another one. You could have a few napkins and make another one just in case. But this one here is going to be just to get started wetting the paper. The paper is absorbing that water right away, you know? Okay, so my paper is wet. So now I put the blue. Let's see how the blue looks down here. See? I leave space around the turtle. I'm putting darker blue right here. Remember how I said this will be darker? But I'm leaving a gap here that we could always kind of look, pick up for our coral. So watch, it's still wet, right? So I'm gonna now add my green. Remember the green we created, kind of like blue greenish. I'm leaving a gap here for sand. So greenish. Now let's make some more blue. I need more darkness here. Sorry. So the highlight could get pronounced. Okay. Excuse me. So now I'm gonna pick up some color by making some lines here like this, coming out of this corner. Those are very. I want them more pronounced. Ah, let's do it again. And then a lot of pickup right here. You see, these little dots are just part of the tissue. And I'm gonna pick up some stuff here, like little tubes, create some kind of, or white gaps, because that's where my coral is gonna be. It's okay. We could always pick it up later. Um, some more blue maybe here. Okay, your paper is gonna bend. Okay, my paper, look, see how it's bent? By the way, yes, I forgot about that. Let me get some blue to show you something that you can do. Wet the paper, and look at my fingertip. We've done this before, okay? Maybe you can make little circles. I don't know. It adds to. My paper is already dried up, like it just quickly dried up, but it's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna clean my brush. I'm gonna use this closer water to the paints to clean my brush and try to keep this one clean. Put some yellow here. Very light. Careful touching the blue because it becomes green. Which is okay if it's a little. But very light. It has to be light, because the sun is not like extremely yellow. Okay, perfect. We could always, with water in our brush, in a clean brush, pick up. Look how I go down and pick up color. Okay, so our lines are more obvious. You see that? You may want these lines more obvious, so then you wet the line with clean water and you pick it up. You know? Okay. We could always fix everything else later a little. So, okay. Let's do our coral, which are just different colors, dark colors, because it has to be above the blue that's already here. So let's do some, maybe a little bit of red. I don't know. And the coral, we're gonna shape it as this brush here is okay. Light it by adding a little bit of water. I'm gonna make some tubes like cylinders, different sizes. So here's gonna be one, here's gonna be a second one, a third one maybe here behind this one. And these tubes are gonna be round on the top. Maybe a third one down here. Different sizes, you see. It's all about creating. We'll give it shape in a moment because the top, I know I wanted to make a hole on the top, like an opening sponge. Okay, different colors. So we're gonna have orange. The next orange could be more round, like a sphere here. You know. All right. Now I'm gonna go back to my red, but make it darker. You know what I mean? Make it, sorry, use darker red to outline certain areas, like one side. Look, so this side. So then, sorry. Now then, this one will have maybe lines sticking out like this, kind of like a fan. Clean my brush. Maybe now green. This is green, and it's gonna be like a fan branch out. Curvy lines. But then the inside, kind of like a hand. I don't know if you can see that, but kind of like a web, like a spider web. It's connected. You see, it's all connected. Okay, I'm gonna go with darker blue or orange. Actually, sorry, orange, purple to outline what I said about this red one. So I'm gonna go. You see, darker on this side, even more darker, to make this dark hole in the top of the cylinder. Can you see those now? Let's put a bunch of darker blue in this whole area, like a mass brown. I don't care the color. You'll see what we're going to do. The idea is to fill this space. And maybe lighter blue here. A rock, not a rock, but a darker. This is purple, which is darker, you see. Not everywhere, but in some areas. And we're gonna tackle our turtle right away. So this goes here, some lines. I like the purple, but you gotta be careful because it's the last thing because it's really dark. So maybe some lines here coming out. Behind this, you see. Kind of like a tree, like a branch. Let's put some yellow here because this area. I'm gonna clean my brushes. At some point, sometimes it's very good to just maybe just clean your brushes, even if you're gonna use that same color again, just to get your mind clear. Clean your brushes. You may forget what color is in the brush. I'm gonna get some yellow because I know this area is pretty light. Water, besides making your color lighter, in this case, it's just loosen up the pigment so it flows better. Look, you see, almost like ink. That's our coral area. And I could do this. Watch, I'm gonna try to use, it's okay with this water. I'm not gonna, but I'm gonna try to grab the white and put it on top of something that is not extremely dark, but I'm gonna try to keep that white very opaque. Opaque, meaning thick, rich with pigment, so the white can stand out, hopefully. Kind of break the rules of, let's see, dots. Maybe when it dries up, it will disappear, but we'll see. These are just dots. Maybe some highlights here on the on these cylinders. Remember, just like I put a darker side, I could do a lighter side on this side. Okay, let's tackle our sea turtle with light brown. And sorry, maybe light brown. I have to make it so it is the mixture of the three primary colors: red, blue, and yellow. So I have green here. So all I have to add, green is made out of blue and yellow. So all I have to add is a little bit of red. Let's see, to make kind of like a brownish color. I may need a little yellow. You can tell what is it that you need. You know, this is skills that you need to practice and learn and actually master yourself. Like, okay, so a tiny little bit of blue, and I think we're all set to make kind of like a brownish color. It's okay. Water to light it up, but the whole thing is going to be in a very light brown. As you paint, you could define some of the things we drew. So you see how everything is going to be brown, but I did first the shell. You understand? So the next time I make it a different tone because it's a different quantity of water. Even though the whole thing is going to be brown, light brown, I am defining things as I paint them around. Does that make sense? Because every time I go in to put more color, it's a different tonality by the amount of water I choose. Please memorize that. Learn that that's a rule, which makes watercolor the watercolor we know. So this down here, look, have been darker. And you bring that color up. Now this could be lighter by adding more water. More water. You know? I'm purposely keeping this part lighter because I want to differentiate. So now with darker and lighter, we could draw. Like, look. See, I'm making the arm. I'm drawing with paint. You could always use a pen and draw details, you know. But let me get in that eye lighter. But darker, sorry. Even a little bit of purple as I get right in here. Okay, so now this is the last thing we're gonna do, okay? With purple and a little bit of black, we're gonna use a thin brush to kind of draw the lines that we practiced already. When we drew our turtle, where is it? Here. Okay, so watch. Wetting my brush, picking up purple. Let's start with purple. And here's our mouth. You see? So you could use paint to draw. I'm partially outlining. The whole thing won't be outlined, some just parts. So you see, I don't outline this, but maybe here. And then what I do is that I bring that purple a little bit up and define this arm by darkening this area of the turtle. Same thing with this arm here. And the purple is almost like black, like I could use water to lighten it up a little. And you know, remember the lines we spoke about, the umbrella lines? Let's try to do those here. This whole last leg here could be almost all dark, almost. And now we're going to do patches. Patches meaning dark areas that are like a puzzle. This dark area, this dark area. You see how there's like a gap? Makes it like a puzzle. So now between this one and the next one, there's a gap. Look, I'm leaving like a small gap. Okay. I'm leaving gaps like if it's a puzzle. That gap is very important because it makes the shell be like broken down in sections, which is what makes the turtle what it is. You follow in. A few more of those patches in the arm, and that's it. Okay. If your paint is becoming dry and hard to maneuver, you need to wet your brush. I'm leaving a big gap here on the top because that's where it's going to be highlighted. But you get what I'm saying. Also some patches here. But it's like a puzzle pieces, you see? Some bigger than others. And the head also should have It's okay. You see, my paint dries and it's hard to put the paint down, but you get the idea. This should be darker, much darker. Wherever it should be darker, make it darker. See, wherever it should be darker, make sure it is darker. Maybe a little bit of black, because this should be very dark. Okay, I think I'm happy with it. I'm gonna make some lines here like this in an angle, just a little of this brown, just a little bit. You see it's very dark, but I'm gonna soften it with water. And what this represents is the surge that moves in the sand at the bottom. This is what makes those channels. I'm using my finger to even soften it a little more. That's it, guys. Hopefully by now these edges have been dry. I could sign it here in the future with a pen, but I'm gonna take the tape out and we're done. It's perfectly an hour of a class. So as a video, you could always look this back, pause it, okay? Pause it right at the moment where you uh, need more time, need to pay more attention, hear what I say again, okay? Um, okay, I'm gonna take the tape out and you'll see how nice it should all look. Let's see. See that? So the paper is bended. We obviously here we're trying to make a highlight of the water, the sun, sorry, through the water. It's okay. We made a very dark turtle with the purple, but you get the idea. This could have been more different tonalities of brown instead of just pure purple everywhere. But watch the video again if you need to. Pause it, like I said. If your paper is really, really bent, with time it will dry and you could put it inside a book and it will straighten out. Okay? Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Take care. This was an underwater sea turtle or a coral reef. Bye.